Shalum. Shalom and welcome. Welcome to the White Robes Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before a set-apart awakening nation. My brothers and sisters, this series of information, warnings, and instructions are to those who are drawn by the Almighty Creator, the Almighty Father Yahuah, to Yahusha HaMashiach, as it is written in John 6:44. My brothers and sisters, we will come to understand that the name Yahusha identifies the plan of Yahuah to restore us into fellowship with Him. The name Yahusha is reflective of the virgin birth, the one who walked among us as Yahuwah's word manifests before us, the sacrifice, the resurrection. And many failed to realize, but when Yahuah sent His Spirit upon the resurrection, He sent His Spirit in Yahusha's name, referencing John 14:26. If you believe you are one drawn by the Almighty Father Yahuah to Yahusha HaMashiach, who seek to do His will, I consider you my brother, my sister, my family. But before I continue with this message regarding the final Exodus Countdown 2023, let me say this. The views expressed in these messages do not necessarily reflect the owners, managers, shareholders, and/or sponsors. With that said, let's get into it. If you want to know how I arrived at dates, normally I do not set dates. If you want to know how I arrived at dates, I strongly encourage you to listen to the first and second installment of the final Exodus 2023. It explains in details how I arrived at the date of December 21st, 2023. 2023. I have made some mistakes a couple of times where I said 2021. But you see in the banner, if you're looking at it, 2023, and if you listen closely, you would have saw me correct it, or heard me correct it. As I go through these messages, there's a cue, there's a line of messages that I must present to a set-apart nation. And every so often, I am compelled to insert a message in place of the cue and present it. Sometimes it may be a bulletin. Sometimes it just may be a rearranging of the cue, as with this message. In this message, embedded in this series of the final Exodus 2023, is a sequence called Set Apart Yashar'al in Motion. This is the 9th part to that sequence, Set Apart Yashar'al in Motion. And I want to bring your attention, my brother, my sister, to the words discerning greater. And let me say this, O Yashar'al, many people don't understand that I'm not talking about discernment as in the Webster Dictionary meaning. I'm talking about discernment when the Spirit of Yahuah reveals, make known to you, to us, discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name. And I could very well say discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. Discerning greater. If you're looking at this slide, you will see a question mark on greater, exclamation mark on lesser. You see, it depends on what we're talking about that will fall on the greater versus the lesser. It depends on the action, the functions, the set apart judgment. My brothers and sisters, discerning greater, wisdom is discovered when we learn how to focus on the Spirit of Yahusha. This takes consistent prayer without ceasing, my brothers and sisters. Come with me as we talk about, or should I say, as I talk about, discerning greater. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. I want you to consider that there is some comfort when we learn how to effectively manage our perceptions. In other words, how we perceive things. You see, the Almighty Father promised three major things during these end times: discipline to his children, vengeance, and wrath. And though much destruction will come and has come, in earthquakes, volcanoes, famine and pestilence, disease, wars and fightings, end times will ramp up. Meteor showers will come. Rivers will turn red as blood. But depending on your position, O Yashar'al, if you are a child of Yahuah, know that these earthen vessels will go back to the earth. Do not fret, do not worry. Do not worry about what man can do. Our prayer and focus should be on He who is the Almighty One. For when we die physically, our spirit goes into His hand to where He placed us. It didn't say go to heaven, it said go returns to Yahuah. And that place that He have us to rest is described in the scriptures. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, when the things that come that are extremely humbling to the children of Yahuah, our perception should be we are being refined and disciplined for when we take off these earthen vessels and when we are transformed. Though we may be in the same place or point when destruction might come, if we understand that this plan is a plan of the Almighty Father for those of us who are caught in the destruction, caught in the path of massive chaos and wars, right in the middle of it, let us trust and discern why the Almighty Father would have us be in such a place and what must we do in or say. To those who are moved to fulfill the final exodus, a different narrative awaits you. A different outcome awaits you. To those that will be martyrs for Yahusha's sake, a different narrative awaits you. But in the end, we will see Yahusha. For we see him as he is. And we will see what we should be like. Yashar'al, come with me. Consider the life in these words. Come with me to Matthew chapter 17. Matthew chapter 17, verse 20 and 21. Matthew chapter 17, verse 20 and 21. It says, and Yahusha said to them, because of your unbelief, for truly I say to you, if you have belief as a mustard seed, you should say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it shall move, and no matter shall be impossible for you. But this kind does not go out except through prayer and fasting. My brothers and sisters, as end times ramp up, there will be brothers and sisters that will say to the mountain, move, make way for the children of Yahuah as we journey towards that exit point and then to the promised land. There were brothers and sisters who will say to the earth, open your mouth and swallow these adversaries that are in our way. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. And it is important to understand, just as a mustard seed is tiny, it might be the lesser in size compared to many other seeds, not all, many other seeds, but it's greater when it buds and it blooms and it grows to be a majestic tree. You see, discerning greater, it's not always the majority or the biggest we see in size, but often the end result. Come with me to read Judges 7th chapter. I want you to read the whole 7th chapter of Judges, but I'm going to read an excerpt from the 7th chapter of Judges. I'm going to start with verse 2 and read it through 7, and then I'm going to drop down to 22. 7th chapter of Judges. And Yahuah said to Gideon, The people who are with you are too many for me to give Midian into their hands. Lest Yashar'al boasts against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. And now proclaim in the hearing of the people, saying, whoever is afraid and trembling, let him turn back and leave Mount Gilead. And 22,000 of the people turned back, while 10,000 remained. You see, the numbers are smaller. And Yahuah said to Gideon, the people are still too many. Bring them down to the water, and let me prove them for you there. And it shall be that of whom I say to you, the one goes with you, let him go with you. And whomever I say to you, this one does not go with you, let him not go. So he brought the people down to the water. And Yahuah said to Gideon, everyone who laps the water with his tongue, as a dog laps, separate him from everyone who bows down on his knees to drink. And the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. And all the rest of the people bowed down on their knees to drink water. And Yahuah said to Gideon, by the 300 men who lapped, I shall save you, and shall give Midian into your hand. Let all the other people go, each to his place. In other words, he told the rest of Yashar'al around Gideon to go back to their tents, to go back to their place. Drop down to 7th chapter, verse 22. And the 300 blew the shofar, or the shofar, and upset the sword of each one against the other throughout all the camp. And the army fled to Beth-shittah towards Sisera, as far as the border of Abel, Maholah, by Tebath. Read the whole chapter, my brothers and sisters. And this is a chapter that will prove to you how, though the numbers that was with Gideon was less, when it came to power, they were greater, for they were led by the Almighty Father, and they conquered those whom the Almighty Father delivered into their hands. My point, Yashar'al, did you read and believe how a small number defeated a large number? Did you see how a small group can be greater? Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al, as end times ramp up, as things be numerous when it comes to challenges we face, the one, the two, the small few in places will demonstrate power greater than what is around them, or her, or us. Yashar'al, sure, in this final exodus, the remnant will come together. They will grow in numbers and be tens of millions. But when we compare it to the world population, they will be a remnant. They will be less than 1%, a fraction. But we must believe that that fraction will be much greater than the world. You see, my brothers and sisters, it's not about majority rule when it comes to the rule of the Almighty Father and those who will lead, those who will be as the set-apart priesthood. Let's now visit another account related to greater. Come with me to 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 20 through 24. 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 20 through 24. It reads, and it came to be in the morning, when the grain offering was offered, that sea water came by the way of Edom, and the land was filled with water. And when all Moab heard the sovereigns had come up to fight against them, and all who were able to bear arms and older were gathered, and they stood at the border. And they rose up early in the morning, and the sun was shining on the water. And the Moabites saw the water on the other side as red as blood. And they said, this is blood. The sovereigns have indeed struck swords and have killed one another. And now Moab to the spoil. And they came to the camp of Yashar'al, and Yashar'al rose up and struck the Moabites, so that they fled before them. And striking, they struck the Moabites. Notice how many of them killed themselves. Who brought up the sun and caused the sun to shine on the water? It is he that is greater than us, the Almighty Father Yahuah. You see, though the enemy was numerous, and if you read that chapter, you'll see they were great in numbers. It was Yashar'al who ended up being greater, who ended up being victorious. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, hear these words and discern greater. Greater is he that is in us. Remember these words, O Yashar'al. In 2 Chronicles, it says, in the house which I build is great, for our Almighty One is greater than all mighty ones. Come with me also, that was 2 Chronicles 2:5. Come with me also to 1 John 4:4. It reads, you are of the Almighty One, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. You see, my brothers and sisters, there are so many false teachings that will not allow you to accept that the Spirit of Yahuah drew you, drew me, drew us to Yahusha Mashiach. And upon his sacrifice and resurrection, it is his Spirit that dwells within us. It is the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name, dwelling in us. Our inward man is joined with the Spirit of Yahuah in Yahusha's name. And therefore greater is he that is in us. When we make mistakes, when we are as dirty and filthy rags, it is the blood of the Lamb that washes us and makes us clean. Through our repentance of our mistakes and our stumbles, it is through the atoning blood that we are made anew, that we are made strong. If you see someone that says that they are your brother or your sister and they're doing something wrong or wicked, examine them thoroughly. See if they're happy in that wickedness. See if they're sad. See if they're going through some stuff. You see, because the Almighty Father will discipline his children, will clean up his tabernacles. So before you dismiss a brother or sister, you can judge the action as wicked, but before you dismiss whether they are brother or sister, seek to discern whether they are facing the discipline from the Almighty Father. And if not, come away from such. Purge them from your midst. But know this, the Almighty Father will indeed discipline those whom he loves, as it is written in Revelations chapter 3, verse 19. Keep these words in mind, O Yashar'al. Listen very carefully as I read Isaiah 26, 3 through 5. It says, the one steadfast of mind you guard in perfect peace, for he who trusts in you. Trust in Yahuah forever, for in Yahuah is a rock of ages. For he shall bring down those who dwell on high. He lays the exalted city low. He lays it low to the earth. He brings it down to the dust. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. Whether it be two or more, whether our numbers be few or many, greater is the Almighty Father, and he will demonstrate his power as he guides us through, as he began to gather us for this final exodus, as he began to strengthen us for these final days, whether we be martyrs for Yahusha's name or in the ranks of the final exodus. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. We must discern the characteristics of our tabernacle, our bodies. There is this body that has within it a brain that can be programmed and taught different ways. Thus, many of our comprehension levels differ when it comes to reading the letter. Even though man has tampered with it, when we read what man has tampered with, our comprehension levels vary based on how we were taught, how we were educated, O Yashar'al. But when we seek the voice of the Spirit of our teacher, when we seek the voice of the Comforter, when we seek the voice of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name, he makes the scriptures alive and let us know what he means, what he expects, and how we are to come about demonstrating that he is indeed greater than anything or anybody. Let us know these tabernacles. I talk about the 7 major feast days, the purposes. And when you get to that 7th feast day, tabernacle, this earthen vessel that houses our inward man, this earthen vessel that houses that inward man that is joined with Yahushua Mashiach into the family of set apartness, into a set apart nation. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. Times will come when we will demonstrate power, as the Almighty Father proves that his Spirit flows through us. But there are some things that will happen to prepare us in demonstrating such power, my brothers and sisters. Identifying source of power. It is important. It's not a game. It's not funny. It is serious. Come with me to John 14, verse 12 through 14. John chapter 14, verse 12 through 14. For it reads, truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these he shall do, because I go to my Father. And whatsoever you ask in my name, that I should do, in order that the Father might be esteemed in the Son. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it. For those who take the letter and just the letter alone, the text alone, they can point that and say, well, that's what the word of Yahuah says. That's what it says. My brothers, it's important to study. Because if you study earnestly, thoroughly, you will find that the prayer that you pray, the things that you ask in Yahushua's name should line up with what is expected from the Almighty Father, what his intent is, what his decisions are. If you doubt that, come with me to 1 John 5, 13 through 15. 1 John chapter 5, verse 13 through 15. Listen to what it says, my brothers. I have written this to you who believe in the name of the Son of the Almighty One, so that you know you possess everlasting life, and so that you believe in the name of the Son of the Almighty One. And this is the boldness that we have in him, that if we ask whatever according to his desire, let me say it again, according to his desire, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petition that we have asked of him. Yashar'al, Yashar'al, from calling mountains to move, and sinkholes to form, and rivers to dry up, and people to be healed, and people to be blinded, and people to take their last breath. We're going to discover what those greater works that Yahushua spoke of are. We will speak those words that are necessary to ensure the flow of Yashar'al coming together for this final Exodus, to ensure that Yashar'al will be fortified and strengthened up until the day we are martyrs for Yahushua's name, or the day that we go to the promised land and witness his physical return. Greater things are ahead, O Yashar'al. The things that are occurring in this earthen vessel, considered like boot camp, training camp, for the day we will be transformed. Let me continue, O Yashar'al. Remember, praying and asking according to his desire is critical. It's important. Let me say something else regarding identifying source of power. Come with me to Luke 4, 31 and 32. Luke 4, 31 and 32 reads, and he came down to Kepha, a city of Galilee, and was teaching them on Shabbat. And they were astonished at his teaching, for his word was with authority. The word. This is what Yahushua was speaking. This is what his taught ones, when they were obedient, spoke with authority. Authority in the name of Yahusha, authority given by the Almighty Father. Come with me to Luke 24:49. And it reads, and see, I am sending the promise of my Father upon you. But you are to remain in the city of Jerusalem until you are clothed with power from on high. Power, speaking of when his spirit spread into us, those that are drawn by the Almighty Father to Yahusha. My brothers and sisters, identifying the source of power. We must be mindful of the things that were promised, the things that are taught us, the things that are made alive before us, the instructions that the Almighty Father have provided through the scriptures when they are brought alive. Consider Acts 17:24. Acts 17:24 reads, Yahuah who made the world and all that is in it, this one being master of heaven and earth, does not dwell in dwellings made with hands. Read further, and then you will come to see that he dwells in us, O Yashar'al. He dwells in us. And if he is the Almighty One resides within us. And the discipline, the challenges that we face will prove that his spirit is cleaning house, refining us as he works through us one towards another. Come with me to 2 Corinthians 6:16. 2 Corinthians 6:16. It reads, and what union has the dwelling place of the Almighty One with idols? For you are a dwelling place of the living Almighty One. As the Almighty One has said, I shall dwell in them and walk among them, and I shall be their Almighty One, and they shall be my people. Know and discern what is greater. Who is greater, O Yashar'al? This is necessary for these end times, for healings, for protection, to demonstrate the presence and proclaim the judgment of the Almighty Father, and so much more. Come with me to Colossians 3:16. For it reads, let the word of Messiah dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing with pleasure in your hearts to the Master in psalms and songs of praise and spiritual songs. When he say this, he's talking about working in unison, working together, moving as the Spirit of Yahusha works through us, in us, one towards another. Yashar'al, Yashar'al, knowing when to speak and stand back and watch. In other words, there was a time in number 16 when Musha spoke the words that he was instructed to say regarding a sinkhole, the earth opening up. And then he stood back and watched, and the earth opened up by the words that he produced and swallowed a group of rebellious individuals who questioned the leadership that Yahuah had set forth at this particular time. And I'm referencing something that occurred in the 16th chapter of Numbers. Come with me as I read it, my brothers and sisters. Numbers 16th chapter, verse 28 through 33. And I encourage you to read the entire chapter, 16th chapter, but I got an excerpt here on the screen. And Moshe said, by this you know that Yahuah has sent me to do all these works, that they are not from my own heart. If these die as all men do, and if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahuah has not sent me. But if Yahuah creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all their belongings to them, and they go down alive into the grave, into Sheol, which is grave, then you should know that these men have scorned Yahuah. And it came to be, as he ended speaking all these words, that the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, and all the men with Korah with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into Sheol, or in the grave, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. The scriptures aren't for entertaining. They're for instruction. Let you who hear these words trust that the Almighty Father will prepare you with the strength and power to demonstrate that he that is in you is greater. Discerning greater. What is greater? It is he who is in you. Rise up, O set apart children of Yashar'al. Rise up with the strength and fortitude to endure all the conditions that will arise, spoken of in times, to endure unto the very end, whether it's physical death, which is sleep until resurrection time, or whether it's journeying as we go through all the confusion, the chaos, the destruction. As we go through that, as we pass through that, in some cases we'll be ahead of the destruction that's coming to fulfill that final exodus. Know who is greater, O Yashar'al. True discernment. It's wise to understand what true discernment is. One way of doing that, my brothers and sisters, when you study the scriptures with the intent to draw closer to the Almighty Father, with the intent to understand what is he saying to you, then the scriptures, when they come alive, they will be brought to your remembrance when it's necessary for you to discern and respond to him, to hear him and respond in the manner that is necessary for protection, for teaching, for guarding, for battle. You don't know the power you have, O Yashar'al, but soon and very soon you will. We will. Be not afraid of what man can do. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. I want to read this. I had skipped aside. I want to come to this here. Matthew 17:20. I want to read it again. I think I read it earlier. Forgive me if I didn't, but I'm going to read Matthew 17th chapter, verse 20 verse. 17th chapter, 20 verse. And Yahusha said to them, because of your unbelief, for truly I say unto you, if you have belief of a mustard seed, you shall say, mountain, move. Yes, I read that. Move from here to there, and it shall move. No matter shall be impossible for you. Remember, I took you also to 1 John, where it says, when you speak things in Yahusha's name, when you speak things according to the will of the Almighty Father. Have we considered what power we will witness in order to fulfill the final exodus, O Yashar'al? Have we given thought to the power within us? Is it just talk? Time will prove it's not just talk. There are the sincere. There are those who will be demonstrating how Yahuah is indeed a consuming fire, how Yahuah can move the mountains, shut the rain, dry riverbeds, make a pathway for those who will be gathered. It will be wise to understand discernment, my brothers and sisters, and know how to respond. It will be wise to test the spirit, to prove the spirit in the sense of a brother or sister confirming, I bear witness. That's coming from Yahusha. That's coming from the Almighty Father. You see, how many leaders, how many community heads, how many pastors, how many bishops, how many deacons, how many spiritual influencers are looking at you, and as you speak the words of set apart and say, I bear witness that the Almighty Father is in you and working through you to encourage you to grow in the strength and power and might of set apartness. If you're not getting the teachings that draws you closer to he who is the Almighty One, he who is greater, if you're not with someone that's teaching you that greater is the one that is in you, not just the leader, not just the pastor, not just the community head, not just the deacon, in you. If they fail to teach you how to draw closer to Yahusha and recognize him within you, something is wrong. And you may want to consider, is this the person I want to be with or around in these final days? Are they telling you what you need to know in the event of their demise? Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, beware and remember the following. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood. Falsehood, my brothers, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. And for this reason, the Almighty One sends them a working of delusion, and for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in unrighteousness. That lawless one is the beast that the scriptures speak of. And it talks about a falling away coming first. It talks about the lawless one demonstrating power. But though that power may seem greater than you as an individual, as your earthen vessel is concerned, that power is nothing when it comes to he that is within you. Be not afraid, O Yashar'al. Learn to speak with the boldness. Seek out those who sharpen you as iron sharpen iron, and strengthen you, so that you would have the strength and fortitude to speak the boldness that will be necessary in the coming of days. And I say, it has begun. You will discern, you will discover a power within you that is greater than anyone can have imagined. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, come with me as I continue with this message, as I draw close to an end. Be mindful of these words as well. Let me read them to you. Matthew 7, chapter verse 21 through 27. 7th chapter Matthew, verse 21 through 27 reads, Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, done many mighty works in your name? And then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. You see, so there's a degree of lawlessness that's going to appear to be working with the power and might of Yahusha's name. But notice he said, those who were wicked, I never knew you. Goes on in the 24th verse down to the 27th. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them shall be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on the house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them shall be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and they beat on the house, and it fell, and great was its fall. We must understand it's a matter of position. It's a matter of placement. It's a matter of who you are, O Yashar'al. It's very important to identify and embrace wisdom. You see, it's not going to be a bunch of people saying, mountain move. Then the mountain move and a lot of people get killed as a result of an earthquake or a sinkhole. And they say, wait a minute, my cousin was in there. Oh, my friend was in there. My bad. No, it's not going to work that way. My mistake. It's not going to work that way. When we speak the words of power, when we speak words that might bring destruction to the wicked or those adversaries who stand in our way as we are gathered, we must speak with the understanding and the wisdom of knowing what will happen and why, and what is expected of us to press on beyond the wicked ones, the enemies, the obstacles that will be removed. It is important to understand the role of wisdom. I want you to read the whole 3rd chapter of Proverbs, but first I want to read Proverbs chapter 2, verse 6. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 6 says, For Yahuah gives wisdom. Out of his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. You see, people will be left behind. We must understand why and press on. People will be purged from our midst. We must understand why and press on. People will be martyrs for Yahusha's name. and some of us won't. We must learn to be wise and press on. Now let me read Proverbs chapter 3, verse 13 through 24, my brothers and sisters. I'm almost done. It reads, "Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the man who gets understanding. For the gain from it is better than gain from silver, and is increased than fine gold. She is more precious than ruby, and all your delights are not comparable to her. Length of days is in her right hand, riches and esteem in her left hand. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those taking hold of her, and blessed are all who retain her. Yahuah founded the earth by wisdom. He established the heavens by understanding. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down dew. My son, let not them depart from your ears. Watch over sound wisdom and discretion. Then they become life to your being, and an adorning to your neck. Then you would walk safely in your way, and your foot would not stumble. When you lie down, you need not be afraid. You shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet." My brothers and sisters, could the 24th verse be saying when you lie down, talking about when we physically die? Are we not aware of the scripture that say to die in Yahusha is gain? I say to you, wisdom. Let us be wise. It is necessary for these final days, for these end times, for this final exodus. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, let us not be careless in our actions. Let us not laugh as the court jester. Let us take this matter serious. Let us take the responsibilities placed in our hands serious. Let us take the power of he that is greater than all serious. Let us be prepared to try the Spirit as we believe he's directing us to see if he is indeed doing so. Even Elijah said, if he be a man of Yahuah, let fire come down. He tested what he believed was stirring inside, and fire came down. Yashar'al, Yashar'al, there are many things that we must do, and we will see leaders perform tasks dealing with healings, dealing with protecting, dealing with fortifying and strengthening a set-apart awakening nation. My brother, my sister, be encouraged. You are about to witness power flow through you like you never thought you had. There will be chosen leaders, shepherds, guides, guards, and guardians among us who will rise up leading the pack, so to speak. There will be those from the least, from the smallest to the greatest in stature, from the youngest to the oldest. Though I have said on many occasions it will be mostly children, it will be diversity. There will be some old and some young. Pray and watch, O Yashar'al. Great things are ahead. Be not afraid. Be not dismayed. And by all means, do not allow your flesh to think, oh, I got the power. I can do anything. I got it. No, it doesn't work that way, my brothers and sisters. Discern what the Spirit of Yahuah has endowed you with and why. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, discerning greater is important. Stay tuned, O Yashar'al. There's much work to be done. There will be days of rest, but there's so much work to be done. Details and processes will be made clear. I encourage you to visit my website, Watchman.net. My brothers and sisters, discover ways to get connected and involved. Help me, O Yashar'al. Help me, my brother, my sister, in the preparation and the support and the gathering of Yashar'al in the Western Hemisphere before we go to that promised land. Help me, O Yashar'al, as it contributes towards my sustainability and the ability that I can contribute towards others and the coming together who will be brought together to fulfill this final exodus. Help me, O Yashar'al. It's not about me. It's about what the Almighty Father has for us to do. And I know he will harden hearts and soften hearts. Bring your abilities, your skills. Bring your resources, your supplies. Gather ye, O Yashar'al, or prepare, O Yashar'al, to move towards Virginia if you are in the Western Hemisphere, and prepare for that massive gathering. For we will leave on container ships that have been positioned, where the containers has been positioned to hold upwards of 20 to 25,000 per ship. With space, it won't be all tight. It will be space to walk, to exercise as we journey. Prepare, O Yashar'al, as the Almighty Father will bring the conditions that are conducive to life around the ships. As he slowed the Atlantic Ocean, the jet stream slowing down. I've said once before, I once had a boat. And I know when the seas are calm, a boat can glide across it with ease and speed. Watch. The jet streams are slowing, my brothers and sisters, in the Atlantic to calm down, to make it easier for the ships to glide across the Atlantic Ocean. There will be a huge armada with many set-apart children of Yahuah returning to the promised land. And there will be some individuals who will come and speak the things that are reflective of, let my people go. Least destruction come, least the wrath of the Almighty Father Yahuah ramps up before you, O nation, separated from the body of Yahuah. We will see the enemy assist with getting us to the promised land so that they can get on with their one world government. Believe it or not, you see those who are at the top of this earthen construct of a one world government. They know that until that he who restrained is removed, the mark of the beast will not happen yet. So they want us to go. They want us to go on about our business, so to speak. With reluctance, they will assist with Yashar'al, who is chosen for this final exodus. They will assist. Then at one point, they would meet, the wicked nations will meet in the valley of Megiddo and make their plans and then march against the camp of Yashar'al. I've seen these things happen. I've seen many details on how this is going to come to be. My brothers and sisters, ask questions. Answers are before you. You may not like the answers, but answers are available. Seek out wise counsel. Seek out those who can and has proven to discern what the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah is saying in Yahusha's name. Discerning Greater. Yashar'al, it is important in these final days. We must learn what is expected, what must be done, what will be done. I come to you. My name is Symmanayah. I come to you in the name of Yahusha. Prepare to witness what greater is, who greater is, and how he flows and will flow in us, through us, one towards another, and through his sent messengers, known as angels by many. We will witness the most phenomenal things ahead. Trust and believe, O Yashar'al. On that note, I pray that you are in good health. Or at the very least, I pray that you have the strength and fortitude to discern what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying to you, to demonstrate to the world whatsoever state we're in. We will yet seek to worship and obey he who is the Almighty One, the Almighty Yahuah. In the name of Yahusha, I come to you. Again, my name is Symmanayah. I pray more than anything that we grow to discern the voice of he that is within us, he that has given us life and life abundantly. On that note, thank you for your patience, your tolerance, and your pursuit of set-apartness. And I end with saying, Shalum.